Alright, so it's 5 a.m. Wednesday, February 26, 2025. I'm on my way to Middlebury, to the Coachman plant to grab a travel trailer. Same one I grabbed yesterday. It's like a 263 Catalina. And I gotta make it back at a good time today, so I left my house between like 4:30, 4:45, somewhere in there. This is usually up to Sheboygan. It's usually about a 10-hour day, so would probably put me home around like 2:45-ish. I'm hoping that's the case. But we'll see. I already had a little bit of a delay because they had the on-ramp to get onto the highway by my house closed. So I had to cross over the bridge, get turned around in the next town, and then come back and hit the other on-ramp. And then they had 4 lanes going down to 1. So even though it was 4:45 in the morning, there was a lot of traffic because of the 4 lanes going down to 1. So I did lose a little bit of time there, and I gotta watch my speed because now there's really not as much traffic, but there's cops out. And I did read something recently that Indiana's kind of cracking down or adding additional police officers to the highways because of the truck traffic. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but I know, like, I always think in my head how much, like, Indiana, at least on the roads that I travel to get to Middlebury or Elkhart, there's a lot of police officers. A lot of them are unmarked cars, so some people may not recognize them. But I've seen them have people pulled over. Otherwise, I probably, because they're like Jeep Cherokee SRT8s and stuff, like nice cars that are unmarked. Luckily, I've seen them pulling people over, so now I know if I see them in the area, that's a cop. It's like, so if you're driving through there, they got a couple, at least 2 black Jeep Cherokee SRT8s, all blacked out, black windows, and they always have people pulled over on like 20 in some of those areas, and they've got like a maroon Dodge Charger. So I try not to speed too much going through Indiana, just set it at like 5-6 over. Usually that's not enough to get them to pull you over. They're usually looking to write a decent ticket there. So same with Wisconsin. I feel like Wisconsin, there's a lot of, they're not unmarked, but there's a lot of state troopers that sit on 294 there, or 94, I don't know which one it is. Whereas like Illinois, you still gotta be careful, but I don't feel like there's as much patrolling going on coming through the Chicagoland area. It's almost like a free-for-all. People are going 100. Yeah, so I'm gonna watch my speed because I don't want to get a ticket. But I wanted to mention that in one of the videos that it just got, like, if you're a new person coming into Indiana, I don't know if it's from every direction, but if you're coming from the north down through Chicago into Indiana, definitely watch out because there's a lot of police traffic, and I'm sure they would love to write a ticket, especially if you got out-of-state plates. One thing I was thinking, and it just kind of dawned on me when I was messing with my GPS to try to find the least toll to get me to Middlebury today. And I picked the same one as yesterday. I think it's like $9.20 in tolls, and then the next closest one's like 11 something. So you save about $2, and it adds 1 minute. And then I think the third one is like $17 in tolls, and I think it actually adds time, so that doesn't make any sense. So I did click the one that adds a minute but saves like $2 in tolls, just like I did yesterday. Hopefully my GPS doesn't correct like it did on the way up to Wisconsin and just take me through the tolls anyways. I don't, like, somebody commented in one of the videos that I can just turn a function on my GPS having a toll would mean adding, close to an hour on some of these drives. And I'd rather just pay, $20 in tolls rather than add an hour sometimes, most of the time. Unless I really have like nothing going on that day, then I would consider, doing that option. But, I want to have the choice, and I don't want to forget that I turn that function off and just assume that whatever routes it's giving me is the fastest route. Like a day like today where I have to be back as early as possible, I don't want to be taking a longer route and saving just a little bit of money. So that's why I haven't turned that function off on my GPS. I want to have that option. So for me, I'm just clicking routes and it's giving me every available route. It's telling me how much each toll cost, and I can kind of choose what I want to do there. It's going to always default to the fastest one, from what I've seen, but I'll just go in and double check by clicking routes. But one thing I was thinking about, because like yesterday when I clicked on it, all I was looking at was the amount of time and the amount that the tolls were. I wasn't even looking at the actual mileage, and it kind of hit me. I was thinking, am I just looking to save the money on the tolls and look at the time, but not paying attention to the actual miles? Because especially on like a longer drive, am I saving $2 in tolls but adding 10 miles or 20 miles to the distance, even though the time isn't that much, because of the route it's taking, and then I'm spending $5 in diesel to save $2 in tolls? That doesn't make sense either. So I have to factor in distance in miles, time, and tolls to really see which route makes the most sense financially and just time-wise. And when I'm looking at this, I'm also looking at, in my head, I have to make $50 an hour gross at least. So I'm kind of factoring in that my time is worth $50 an hour or more. And that's kind of how I'm looking at it, is if I save $20 by adding an hour, really I'm losing money because my time is worth $50 an hour. So it's a lot of stuff that's going into looking at the routes and figuring out what makes the most sense. But in my opinion, this is a business, and when you run a business, your time is worth a certain amount of money. When I run my own personal business, my time, to me, like the way that I factor in my time, is $100 an hour. If I can't generate $100 an hour when I'm physically doing the work, then it's not worth it for me to physically do the work. And that's kind of how I budget it, because of all the costs that go into running a business. So obviously this is a little bit different with the transportation business, but you have to factor in what is your time worth, and put a number on it so that you can kind of stick to it. And I usually look at that, and that's kind of why when I talk about the loads I'm doing, like earlier in this video, I say this load takes about 10 hours. It's because I'm calculating that out and figuring out, okay, if it pays $570 and it takes me 10 hours to do, I'm grossing over $50 an hour. And that way, if there's a load that pays, say, $500, but it takes me, I know that load's going to take me 12 hours to do. Well, financially, that load is less beneficial than the load that takes me 10 hours and pays $570. And that was one of the things I was looking at when I was looking at the loads going to Missouri. Yeah, it pays $1,100, but I figured I was going to be 18 hours of travel with deadhead and loaded miles. And then factoring in like $100 to spend the night somewhere or sleep in my truck. When I broke it down, even though the gross sounds nice at $1,100, when I broke it down to actually, you know, per hour, and not even really factoring in that I would be having to spend a 10 hours, you know, reset in my truck, financially for my time, that one doesn't make sense. Unless that's the only thing I have and I need to make some money, okay, then, you know, just accept that you're making less per hour and take that load and run the deadhead and, you know, increase fuel costs, probably increase tolls. But that's one of the things when I kind of looked at the map and I'm looking at it, I'm thinking to myself, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do that load. Versus, you know, a lower paying load that takes me half the time. But that's kind of some of the things I think about when I'm looking for loads or asking about loads. Sometimes it doesn't always, I don't always just look at the gross price on the load, because that doesn't necessarily translate into net in my pocket. I think I mentioned yesterday, like, you know, between the load yesterday paid $560, the load today pays $570. You know, that's going to put me at $1,130. So it's actually more than if I took one load to Missouri. I'm not spending the $100 or $150, whatever, on a hotel or sleeping in my truck. I slept at home. Mileage wise, it's about the same. I don't know about tolls because I haven't been out to Missouri, but when I look at it, I'm doing this, I'm able to make the same or a little bit more. I'm able to sleep at home in my bed with my, you know, be home with my family and really be gone the same amount of time, because I wouldn't make that run in one shift. So I'm spending a 10-hour reset in my truck and then finishing up the drive. So it's really, I'm probably gone about the same amount of time. So that's kind of something that I think about as well. But that's about it for this video. I wanted to cover the GPS stuff that I've been dealing with, trying to figure out. I'm still using Waze. I may or may not do a video when I get to Coachman, because I'm pretty sure the trailer I'm getting, I think I saw it already when I was picking up the other one, so I think it's in the same spot as the trailer that I grabbed yesterday. It's the same exact trailer I grabbed yesterday, so there's nothing really new there. So unless, maybe I'll throw the video on when I'm coming through to show how muddy it is, because I have a feeling it's probably worse than it was when I was there yesterday, because it was in the 50s, like 56 degrees when I left there yesterday, and so I'm thinking the mud probably got even worse. So maybe I'll throw a video. I did bring, I guess you can call them boots. They're like high top Hey Dudes that I wear, you know, when I'm like dealing with snow or wet, like something I don't want to wear my gym shoes or my regular Hey Dudes. I have like Timberland boots and stuff, but I don't know, in my as I age, I don't like being uncomfortable, so I just wear my comfy stuff. But I brought those that I can throw on, so I'm not just sinking in the mud. So hopefully they will help me out a little bit. Then I can take them off if they get real muddy, and, you know, put them on the floor mat or something in the back, and switch back into my regular Hey Dudes here, because I'm expecting it to be really muddy. I got kind of lucky yesterday, even though it was muddy. Where the camper that I was picking, the travel trailer I was picking up, it was kind of in the shade, so like I was able to walk down, put my license plate on and stuff without it being super like sinking mud around the trailer. There was still some snow packed in, want to mention yesterday at Coachman, one of the guys that works there that transports the campers from the plant to the storage lot, he did actually stop when he saw me and ask if I need any help. I told him I was okay, but that was actually really nice. Most of the guys would just keep driving. They didn't even think about, what you're doing. So that I felt like that was pretty nice of him. I thought about it. I was like, man, I should have just had him, because they've got the quick hookups on their truck that they don't even have to get out. I was like, man, I should have asked him to pull it out for me, bring it out to the parking lot where it was just gravel that was wet versus all the mud. But I'm sure he's got other things to do. But if it would have been a worse situation, then I probably could ask for that help. And we'll see what the situation is today with this trailer. And if that's the case, maybe I'll flag somebody down and see if I can get them to pull it out for me, because I think I mentioned the video yesterday. Just getting into the parking lot, like, the mud was, 6 inches deep might even be an understatement. Like, it was really, like, I was sinking. I almost threw it in four-wheel drive, but I kind of just powered through it. But if you're going to, especially Coachman, some of the Forest River lots, like I mentioned with the snow, like, have four-wheel drive or some really good tires, because I've had to use four-wheel drive to get out of some of those areas with the travel trailers, because it's like snow covered, they don't plow it, and it's up a small hill, and I just started spinning, so I had to throw it in four-wheel drive to get out. Same with the mud. Like, the lots that you go to at, like, Forest River or Coachman, they're really just muddy, like mud and grass. And we get a couple, like, warm days or rainy days, like, it gets pretty nasty in there. And I could definitely see a situation where a two-wheel drive truck could get stuck, possibly even a four-wheel drive truck. Like, I'm sure they got some tractor or whatever that can pull you out, but just if you're in a two-wheel drive, A, try to have decent tires, and then B, be aware of where you're heading into, and kind of thinking if you can get out of there or not, and kind of watch what you're driving into, because it's pretty rough in some of those lots. And that's where I kind of give Jayco their props. Like, their lot is huge. It's all gravel. It gets a little bit, like, rough and uneven and stuff, but that's kind of to be expected with all the travel trailers coming in and out of there and stuff, and truck traffic. But I've never been, I shouldn't say that. There is the back far left corner. There is, like, a little uphill section if you're coming from the far back left corner. I think it was like last week, I thought about, like, man, I might want to throw this in four-wheel drive, because they had like a foot of snow, and it was kind of like a untrafficked area of the lot, because it's all the way in the back, and I was trying to exit out the back gate, and I was spinning pretty good, but I got out of there. But that's really the only time that I thought maybe I needed some four-wheel drive in their lot. Most of the time, you're gonna, and I could have avoided that by not going that direction. They've got like 4 different gates that you can exit out of. So, if I was two-wheel drive, knowing what I know, I probably wouldn't go back there when there's snow. I would exit out one of the other gates, but for the most part, I would give them their props. Like, their lots are pretty well taken care of. Now, they have a broken gate, and they haven't gotten that fixed in like 2 weeks, and that's kind of annoying, because it's the main gate to get in. You have to go down to a different gate. It's not the end of the world, but I wonder when there's an RV transporter going by. I wonder when they'll get that fixed. But this is either going to be my last load for the week, unless I decide to. I've been looking at what's close to the Wisconsin Dells, which is where I'm going, and really the only thing I found on our dealer list so far, I got to go through the rest of them, is if I go to Madison. Like, a lot of the other dealers that I looked up so far, like, I'm just kind of Googling, like, Wisconsin Dells to Sheboygan or La Crosse, and it's like 2-3 hours away. that I can see is probably Madison, but there's still a couple I gotta look up and see. So maybe I'll find something else, but I just don't know if there's gonna be a load that's going to Madison that I can grab tomorrow morning. If there is, then I'll probably do it. If not, then I'll just run 2 loads this week, and this will be it. Kind of play. I'm gonna keep looking at that dealer list and seeing, what I can do, and go from there. And I'll update when I do a video later with after I look through the rest of the dealer list, see if there's any other options, talk to my dispatcher, run it by the wife, make sure she's okay with it, and if everything aligns, I'll update one way or another, and then towards the end of the video, and we'll figure out what we're doing. All right, I'm here at Coachman looking for my trailer. Let's see how muddy it is in here today. It's been off and on raining a little bit. Looks like they moved a lot of trailers. There's where I almost got stuck yesterday. Not really almost stuck, but it's pretty deep right there. Let's go around that today. It looks actually a little better today. Maybe it did get a little bit chilly out. It got below freezing, I think, last night, so that probably helped out. Should be, I think, in this row. There's a lot of guys here today, a lot of drivers. Alright, I'm looking for 301-140. Let's see if I can find it. It should be on the left, I think. Hopefully before. Here's 301-138. I don't want to block this guy in, so we'll see. 301. Nothing yet. Kind of see. So they write the number on the tongue. Might have been on the other side, but I don't think so. I'll have to do a loop and see. It's probably the one right next to this guy. That way we have to wait for him. Yep, that's the one. So I will wait till he pulls out. That's my luck. It's literally right next to where he's at, so I'm not gonna try to hook up while he's hooking up, but I'm gonna do a loop around, and then I don't know if he's just transferring. It looks like he's doing a full hookup, so he might be there for a minute. Like I said, that would be my luck. Literally right next to the guy. I think there's one other driver than him in here today. He was driving for Horizon. The lady up at the front desk for security, she was very pleasant this morning. Sometimes they aren't that pleasant. I'm sure they get some really rude drivers. So I don't blame them, but I try to be as nice as possible, because you just never know. I mean, when you're nice to them and you're consistently nice, they're probably going to be more willing to help you. Because I noticed lately they've been telling me like what row it's in, and I don't know if that's a coincidence or not, but when I first started coming here, they would just tell me what lot, and I didn't really know where a lot of lots were, and they would just kind of point me in the, like, it's that way, take a left. Like, they were kind of short, and then you just kind of figured out what you're doing. Now they remember me, and because like even this morning she was like, "Oh, you're back again." So she remembered me, and she told me what lot and what row it's in, which they used to never tell me what row. So then you're just driving through the entire parking lot looking for, whatever you're looking for. So, like I said, I don't know if that's a coincidence. Maybe they're just doing it for everybody now, or if you know, it just pays off to be nice. And, whoa, that's so bumpy. I'm just gonna basically park here. If I make it, this is rough. So yesterday it was all muddy. Today it's frozen ruts, so you're just bouncing, but it is what it is. Yeah, he's still hooking up, so he must be doing a full hookup. He's not transferring to another lot, I don't think. So I'll just get somewhat close and wait until he pulls out. Like I said, there's nothing I can do. It'd be extremely rude for me to kind of roll up next to him and try to hook up. So hopefully he's somewhat quick, because I got places to be today. I got to be home at a certain time. So yeah, hopefully he doesn't take too long. I'm gonna pull off a little bit more to the side just in case somebody else comes in. But that's a pretty nice camper. I don't think I've ever pulled one of those Auroras. I mean, I guess it kind of looks the same as the Catalina, but it's the fiberglass. I like the fiberglass. Mine has aluminum sides, just like the Catalinas, but I really like the look of the fiberglass. But I've heard that they fade after a few years. One of my buddies has a fiberglass one, and when I was shopping, I asked him what he was thinking. He said go with aluminum because his fiberglass faded real quick. But one thing with my aluminum that I noticed is, and mine's white, so maybe the gray or silver would help, but it oxidizes, so it gets like streaks, and you can't just like rub them off with like a cloth. Like if you're familiar with oxidization, you usually have to have like a chemical that you can spray on it and wash it off or scrub it off. So I gotta either pay to have someone detail it and get it off, or get the stuff to do it myself, because it sucks when you see these oxidized streaks on a brand new camper that you just bought. But yeah, I think if I were to do it again, I would probably just go fiberglass and take my chances on the fading. I also wondered, because I noticed like all the fifth wheels are fiberglass, and you don't really see it. I don't think I've seen a single, at least anything recent, I haven't seen any fifth wheels that are aluminum. So I wonder if there's a reasoning behind that. I noticed that camper was like super close to mine, so it actually works out nice. I probably wouldn't even have been able to walk. That's why he was backing up, readjusting, because I don't think he would have been able to just take the corner without sideswiping the camper that I'm grabbing. But at least now I don't have to worry. I don't think there's anything on the other side of it either, really. So I should be fine to just hook up, do my walk around right here, which is nice. And since it's not super muddy right now, I can just do that. Probably won't even change my boots. Let's double check. I'm looking for 301140. That's my camper. He is pretty quick. So, all right, I'm gonna get out, get this thing hooked up, and hopefully be on my way. Make another video in a little bit. All right, so you kind of see like this wiring mess. Like they've got the solar and the battery zip tied together, but it's just kind of hanging there. So I gotta try to figure out if I can do something else with this. Maybe just zip tie it down here so it's not flapping in the wind. And then I got these lights on. They look cool, but I don't think I'm allowed to drive with them. I don't know if they come through in the video, but they're all down the front of it on both sides. So I gotta figure out how to shut those off. It's probably inside the camper, I'm guessing. And let's see if these doors. Nope. Of course, these doors on the Coachmans are always messed up. This looks a little bit funky, like it's not quite right. Here, this door, got it closed, but I gotta find the key to lock that because it was just flapping down. Let's see if the big door. Nope, it's not locking right. Keys might be in here. Let's see. Gloves on because I messed up. At home it was like, in Chicagoland it was 40 degrees. Usually to the south it is the same or warmer, and that is not the case today. It's maybe 35 degrees. It's kind of nice because it froze up the mud, but I did not wear a hoodie. I just wore like a long sleeve, and it's kind of chilly out here. Let's see at this front door. Nope, of course not. They never stay closed, right? Oh, there was some mud. It wasn't frozen. Let's see if there's some lights in here. This door, the screen door doesn't want to open. Oh, that's a little bit of an issue. There we go. I wouldn't be too happy about that. Yeah, I gotta see if there's a way to shut those lights off. Doesn't look like anything is on up there. No switches, they all look off, so maybe they only come on with the lights on my truck. I'll check and see. But alright, so it started raining. Get out of here just in time. It's cold. I was definitely not expecting that, considering it was 40 in Chicago, like 34, 35 in Indiana. But like I said, it kind of froze up the mud, which was nice. It's a little bit muddy still, but nothing near like yesterday. I cannot get those lights to shut off in the front. I didn't see any switches for them, so maybe I'm gonna ask security if they know, because I don't know if I'm allowed to run down the road with these on. And I pulled this exact trailer yesterday, and these lights were not on. So as soon as I plugged it into the truck with the 7-way, these things popped on. So all my running lights are on. I tried to shut off my lights. All the lights on the trailer shut off, like running light wise, except for those up front. So I don't know. I don't know if that's an issue running those. I don't know if they're allowed to be on. But I mean, I guess either way, we're going, taking our chances, but not ideal. I think this trailer is about 32 feet, if I remember right. I didn't even look at the sticker today because I pulled it yesterday, but my hitch is set up like perfectly for this size. It's level. It's when I get up to like the 37s or bigger, I still get a little bit of a nosedive. So yeah, so I think I'm just gonna leave my hitch the way it is, and I don't really want to set it up for the 37s and then have the nose riding high on these other trailers, because I would say the majority of what I'm pulling is about 30 feet. So I don't think it makes sense to adjust the hitch for, you know, the larger trailers when I'm pulling those every once in a while. And it's probably like you literally have to break the bolts down. Like it's not hard or like super time consuming, but it's about a 10-minute job. So I don't know if I see myself changing it every time, just to adjust for a little bit of nose diving on those really big trailers. But maybe if I end up getting like a 39 or a 40 footer, I haven't pulled anything that big. Most travel trailers cap at about 37, 38. And I'm sure there's some out there that are 40 plus. If I start to pull some of those, maybe at that point I'll adjust based off that, so it's not crazy nosedive. But like this is set perfectly. But with that being said, yesterday it got a little bit windy up in Wisconsin, but not too bad. But this trailer didn't pull that nice. Like I don't know what really goes into making them pull nice or not, but I'll say that some trailers you almost don't know they're back there. They could be 35 feet long and you just don't even know they're back there. And then you get some that are 30. You know, I've had some that are like 25 that are just terrible to pull. So I'm not sure what the deal is with that, but you can see there's a lot of campers. Like, this place is busy. They did move a lot since I was here yesterday, though. Like, that lot that I was in today was, like, they almost couldn't find room to put stuff yesterday. And now there's a lot of room. So there's either a lot of guys coming in and grabbing stuff, or they're moving them to storage lots. But they're pretty full here. So that's a good sign, I think. Jayco, I ran Jayco's last week. They're pretty full there as well. So hopefully that's a good sign to come. I know end of the month they're gonna want stuff moved, so I feel bad that I'm gonna be gone. But it is my wife's birthday, so we're going on a little vacation, so this might be the last load for the week for me, even though it's only Wednesday. I'm gonna shut this off while I go through security. All right, so it's kind of raining right now, but well, it's changing over from hail to rain. It started to hail a little bit. Kind of crazy for weather for February. But I was just thinking, I don't know who would, I would imagine it wouldn't be on the driver if it was hailing on the trailer and damaged it, but I guess you never know the way things go. But luckily it was just like little tiny ice balls coming down, and now it's changed over to rain. But I got that thing hooked up and out of there just in time to get out of this rain. When I was leaving, the security guy, it was the guy this time, not the girl, but he asked me how, he was extra pleasant, like asking how it was back there, this and that. And I think they're probably getting a lot of complaints from the drivers that it's just super freaking muddy. Not that there's anything like those guys could do about it, but I'm sure they're getting complaints. You know, it is what it is, but either that or maybe they're reading my inspection sheets and seeing that I'm marking stuff down. I feel bad doing it, but I gotta cover my own self, and when I see little things, I have to mark them, because I don't want to be responsible and have to pay for them. Yeah, so maybe that's why he was asking, because they saw the markings on the last sheet, and then maybe they saw the ones I put on this sheet. But I just basically marked down like the wheel well trim is warped a little bit or wavy, that the doors didn't latch correctly on the storage compartment doors, and then I put down that the back bumper was muddy, because the reason I did that was because I didn't want to be a situation where they clean it up at the dealership and there's scratches in it that I didn't see because it was muddy. But yeah, like I said, I just gotta cover myself. I mean, I guess that's really the reason the inspection sheet's there. I did take a picture of the inspection sheet so that I could have that documented for myself, just in case it were to get lost or misplaced. I don't know what their process is when you give them that inspection sheet. You're giving it back to security. I imagine that doesn't stay with security, but yeah. So I just wanted to make sure I was kind of covering myself on that. They didn't say anything about the lights. The couple times I've asked them for like help on stuff, they just really didn't know like anything. I think I asked them like when I had an issue with the first time I had an issue with the doors not closing. You know, they or latching correctly. They were like, well, just mark it down and go. So they didn't say anything about the lights. I didn't really mention it. They're good though. Like if they see a door like flopping, they'll let you know, hey, double check, make sure you latched it correctly or it's latched. But yeah, they're really just there to make sure things are getting checked in and out correctly as far as like maintenance goes. I don't know if they have somebody that they would call down. I'm guessing, you know, if it was like something that the trailer couldn't be moved, and it's something that they could fix right away, maybe they would do it, or that you just wouldn't be able to take the trailer. Maybe your dispatcher would be able to get you another one. That would be unfortunate. I've never had that situation, but I was thinking about it. Like, what if you got there and the trailer, you know, tires below or flat or whatever the case might be. Like, a lot of these don't have a spare on them. wonder what would happen. Like, you could be set up in a situation where you're just kind of screwed. Like, you know, if you get a hold of your dispatcher and there just isn't another trailer for you to pull, like, you just deadheaded out here for no reason, that would probably not get any money. So, I don't know. That would suck, but luckily I haven't been in a position like that. I would try to fix whatever I could just to get the trailer off onto the road just so I could go. But I'm sure there's things, you know, obviously things that I wouldn't be able to fix. Some people wouldn't be able, maybe some people would be able to fix more than me, but hopefully that doesn't happen. I'm sure there's been a time that it has, so we'll see. But got about a 4-hour drive. I didn't bother with trying to find like the cheapest route, just because I got to get home at a good time to relieve my mother-in-law from babysitting because she's got stuff to do. So I'm not going to take the Chicago Skyway, though, I can tell you that much. I'm not paying $36 for a toll to go across the bridge with a bunch of potholes. But I didn't try to pick like the fastest route without tolls, or I didn't even look. Like, I'm just going with the default. Should be about 4 hours. It did take me a little longer to get hooked up because I had to wait for that Horizon driver to finish up hooking up his trailer. He was pretty quick though, but I mean, obviously it was more time consuming than if I could just roll up and hook up to my trailer. But yeah, so I should be fine though. Should get up there by like noon, and then usually account for about a half hour for a drop off. So 12:30. About 2 hours, 15 minutes home. So 2:45. It would be nice if I can get home before 2:45. Because 2:45 would be fine. Because I could pick my daughter up from school then. That'd be kind of cool. So we'll see what time though. I'm not gonna. I mean, I've got 85% fuel, so I'm gonna be able to probably make it all the way up to Sheboygan. But I'll have to stop. On my way back, probably, unless I hit a bunch of wind, then I'll have to stop on my way there. But if I would have went right out of Coachman instead of left, I would have avoided this toll. Kind of kicking myself. I wonder what the difference in time would have been. That's alright, this is probably like a 75 center. They add up though, you know, over the course of a year. But that's all for this video for right now. I may do one after I drop off. Alright, I dropped off that trailer up in Sheboygan and headed back. My truck is really liking this like slightly warmer weather. It's like about 40 degrees today, 50 something yesterday. I don't know what it is, but my mile per gallon has been way better. I filled up yesterday in Wisconsin, like right on the other side of the border by like Rockford area. I drove home like 100 miles, deadheaded to Indiana this morning, 140 miles, and then took that 32 and a half foot camper up to Sheboygan. I don't know, I'm at like 530 miles and I still have a quarter of a tank, which normally I would have had to fill up already. I would have probably normally had to fill up either right after I dropped or before I made it up to Sheboygan. So I'm at a situation where I can make it home. My 120 miles or whatever it is home, I would make it no problem, probably without even my fuel light coming on. So I'm hoping that's what I'm going to start seeing when springtime gets here, is this better fuel mileage. That'd be nice. I don't think they've switched to summer fuel or anything because it's still really early in the year for that. I'm thinking it's just the weather for whatever reason, maybe the air density or something. My truck's enjoying it. So I was just looking. I've only spent like $135 on fuel so far between these two loads this week. I am going to top off in Wisconsin here, probably south side of Milwaukee, because I was looking at the fuel app and I can get price being like $3.98, so I'm saving like 96 cents. I haven't really paid attention to what the price of diesel is around my house, but I'm gonna guess it's probably right around that $3.90 or so. So if I can fill up for $3.02, I'm gonna do that, because looks like I will have a load for tomorrow. Not going to Madison where I wanted to go, but I think I'm gonna get one going to Wisconsin Rapids. It's about an hour north of the Dells, which is where I'm going on vacation. So I think what I'm gonna do is stop at the hotel, hang out with the family, and then when everybody goes to bed, I'll jump back in and I'll jump back in, drive that hour up, deliver the camper, and then come back, because I can just do a night drop up there. So, and then that load actually pays like $200 or $210 more than Madison. Madison would pay $560. I'm gonna get $770 for Wisconsin Rapids. So, a little bit of an inconvenience, having to drive that hour past, but I think for the extra $210, and it'll only be like 2.5 hours of my time. So, and like I said, if I do it after everybody goes to bed, I'm not interrupting the family at all. The dealership doesn't really care when I get it there, so I mean, I could even wait till the next day. I just don't want to do that, because just in case we want to go do something with the truck the next day, go out to dinner or whatever, I don't want to have a camper stuck on the back. So I'll just go up that night, drop it, do the night drop, and then head back to the hotel. So I think that'll work out good, and it's going to allow me to have a pretty decent week, because I'll have $560 from Madison, $570 from Sheboygan today, and then $770 tomorrow. So it ended up being like $1,900, I think is what it came out to, for 3 days of work. And the nice thing then is, like I was saying before, it kind of pays for the trip. Probably not in total. The Dells is pretty expensive now, but at least covers the fuel and maybe a couple nights at the hotel or something. But also, what'll be nice is I'll be able to write off the miles, because I'll be driving a load, and then I should be able to write the deadhead home, because I would have to deadhead that anyways. So so basically, coupled the savings from being able to write the miles off, and then add in the $770 that I'll be getting paid for the load, I think that works out pretty nicely. I haven't gotten it sent to me yet, because I had messaged my dispatcher asking if he had anything for Madison. He said no, but he said I told him I was looking to try to get to the Dells, and he said he asked me if Wisconsin Rapids would work, so I'm guessing he has one. I told him, yeah, send it over, I'll take it. So so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wake up early, because we're trying to leave about noon from my house. So if I wake up early, leave out around like 5 a.m., should put me home with the trailer around 10 a.m. And then I can load everything up and head out. And like I said, I'll just go to the hotel, hang out, and then deliver. So I like that idea. I still like Madison, just not having to worry about heading back out at night, but I think that extra $210 makes it worth it. And for a slight inconvenience, especially because I'm only going to have 3 loads this week, so having that higher paying load, putting me at $1,900 for 3 days worth of work, I'll take that. And again, that kind of goes back to some of the benefits that I talk about with like being able to do this line of work. It's like, especially being power only hotshot or RV transport with power only, I'm able to do this, get to the Dells, and after I drop that camper tomorrow night, I'll be empty and I can run around with my family, have the truck, no problem, because I'll just pull my magnets off, put them in the side, and then I think technically I'll have to log my drive back to the Dells, and then when I leave the Dells after I spend the weekend there, I'll have to track my deadhead back home, but that's fine. That's not the end of the world. I'll hit a reset, a 34-hour reset in the Dells, so then I'll be able to when I head home, I'll be working with a fresh clock anyway, so I'll just use a couple, 2-3 hours for the drive home, and then I'll be able to keep working next week. Hopefully, we got plenty of loads. It seemed like Jayco and Coachman have been, super busy, so that's good. I'm hoping that I'm able to pick up either at Jayco or Coachman, or our storage lot, because that's going to save me some time. Because if I got to do Forest River, that usually adds a little bit extra time, because you have to go pick up at their office, and then sometimes it's like a half hour to the storage lot. But I'll just make sure, I'll know tonight where I'm picking up, so if it's Forest River, I'll just make sure I leave a little bit extra time, so I can account for that. But if it's like Coachman, Jayco, or our storage lot, then I know, I pretty much got Coachman down to a science where, as long as I don't have any issue finding the trailer, I can be in and out of there in about a half hour. And then same thing, like Jayco, usually I can be in and out in a half hour hooking up. Our storage lot, I could probably be in and out in 15 minutes, which is nice. But yeah, we'll go from there. Pretty happy about that. This load went good. I'm super happy with the performance of the truck, with the fuel mileage. I didn't change anything about my speed. I pretty much just set the cruise at 70. So, my fuel mileage isn't because I decided to go 60 this trip or anything like that. I always set my cruise at 70, unless it's like super, super windy, then I might kick it down to like 65. But for the most part, 70 is my towing speed. I try not to push it past 70 unless I'm like literally passing somebody. And I typically use cruise control, so I didn't really change anything about like the way I drive. I just got a lot better gas mileage the last couple of days. So the only variable that I can think of is just the weather. So yeah, I'll top off fuel southern Wisconsin somewhere. That'll get me home no problem, and then I'll have fuel to get all the way to Indiana, back to my house, and probably all the way to the Dells. But I may end up stopping and filling up on the way to the Dells, just because I don't know, we'll see. Maybe if I've got enough fuel, I might just make it all the way to Dells and then fill up sometime after the Dells tomorrow when I don't have the family with me. It kind of depends on if they need to stop, or depending on, I'll check the fuel prices and stuff like that and see. But yeah, if I fill up in southern Wisconsin today, somewhere south of Milwaukee, no problem deadheading home, deadheading to Indiana, and back home, and then back into Wisconsin. So that should be pretty good. As long as I don't get like a 40-foot travel trailer, I should be fine. I think it is supposed to start getting colder tomorrow, so it'll be interesting. We'll be able to kind of see if the fuel mileage changes with the weather changing again, because I know this warm up is just like a blip, and then it's supposed to get cold again for a while. So I don't know, it'll be interesting to see if it changes again. Because when I first got this truck in November, I think it was, sometime in November, I was getting better fuel mileage, and I think it might have been either like the warmer weather, or possibly maybe we hadn't switched to like winter fuel yet. But because lately I've been seeing like around 16 miles to the gallon empty deadheading, whereas like when I first got the truck, I was getting like 19 deadheading, 18, 19. And the one thing I don't do that I could be doing is I don't take off my mud flap or my weight distribution hitch. So I've heard that if you remove that mud flap for your drive, like your deadhead, you will get increased fuel mileage. So if that's, maybe what I'll probably do is I'll probably try that while I'm in the Dells this weekend, because it's just a quick disconnect. I don't really want anybody to like steal it out in the parking lot. So I was planning on disconnecting it anyways, and I'm gonna take my weight distribution hitch off, so that thing's like $1,000, and it would be, it's I have a locking pin, but I mean you could cut that with a Sawzall in a matter of minutes and have that thing off. So I'll probably remove everything when I get to the Dells, just lock it in the truck, so that I don't have to worry about that. But that's it. It's starting to rain again. Gonna try to get home. I will be home. GPS says like a little bit before 2:45 actually, but I do have to stop and get that fuel. So probably 3 o'clock I'll be home. Left my house between like 4:30 and 4:45. So about 10 hours, 15 minutes for today's run. $570. So less fuel than usual, which is good. Probably about $100 in fuel. 110. Off that 570. I didn't mess with the tolls at all. So I'm gonna guess I probably paid, because that one going into Wisconsin from Illinois is like $18 or something. So I wouldn't be surprised if I paid $40 in tolls today, because I was trying to get home. I didn't want to mess with trying to get avoid any tolls. So but that's okay. Still made some pretty decent money. I'll be home early, spend the day with my kids, and I get to sleep at home. So I think that makes it worth it for doing the local run.